And James Cameron, you are a master. You will probably never watch my videos. You'll probably never know who I am. But I'm telling you right now, as a projectionist, from one person in one part of the industry to somebody else in another part of the industry, you are a genius. Moto dork. Whew, that's... Yeah. I can't get my foot under it. Well, you know, it's a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Beautiful Saturday afternoon. I don't even know if this thing's recording. We're going to find out, though. It was recording. Whew. Well, so I bought some new boots. Well, I bought a new jacket and pants, boots. And boots fit fine. I had to get 12 and a half. You know, because my feet are big. You know, my big feet, they don't translate to anything else, just so you know. There's no truth to that. Unfortunately, well, I bought a leather jacket and a leather pair of pants, riding pants, both containing armor, 360-degree zippers, so you can combine them both into one, you know, pant, jacket, suit. And I ordered the same size jacket as the textile jacket I already had, thinking, oh, you know, it'll be the same. And I ordered extra large pants, because I've always thought I was kind of an extra large guy. But neither one fit. There was too much moto dork in the way to zip and button said jackets and pants. So you know, I don't know. So I had to send them back. And I'm waiting on replacements. So I guess I ordered, you know, replacements that are fat size. And that's okay. You know, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But I'm having a bit of a problem here with the boots, because I ordered some CD. I think they're the Vertigo, and boy are they stiff. And I'm having a little trouble getting my foot underneath the gear shift lever. You know, it's not as easy as it was with my old boots. So I guess these things need to loosen up a little bit. And it's making me a little sad. And I don't know if you can see down there. Yep, that is. I don't even know if they're the Vertigo boots. They're seedy though, I do know that, because that's what it says on the boot. I can't remember if they're vertigo. I mean, you know, they just looked pretty. They looked really pretty. And I wanted to be styling. You know, I wanted to be styling in these boots. So that's what I ordered. But they offer ample protection for my little shins and my little ankles. You know. Anyway. Yeah, I got no problem downshifting. That's fine. It's getting my foot up underneath, because these things are really tight around my, as my daughter says, my dainty feminine calves. So I got them really tight, so they don't. I guess I'm just gonna get used to it. That's fine too. I can get used to it. I can adapt. I'm a man. I mean, I think I can adapt. Also, I went on my trip last week down to Florida. On the way back, I caught a horrible cold. So, you know how I talked about my sniffing. I sniff sometimes. Well, it might be a little worse during this video, and I apologize in advance. I swear I don't know if this thing's recording or not. I know I pressed the record button and the battery's fully charged. Now, I think the light is flashing. I can't really tell. What does it look like over there? Ah, I see it. I see her flashing. She's a flashing. Me. Well. So. I don't even know what I want to talk about. I just wanted to get here. I just washed my bike. She's all clean and pretty. I missed a few things. That's fine too. But I just want to get around the road. It's been it's been a while since I rode. You know, since before my trip. And just wanted to ride. So, you know, this might be just like a stream of consciousness for me. Y'all don't mind that, do you? That's fine, isn't it? And it's just such a beautiful day. You know, it's in the mid-50s. Feels great. I got my thermal liner in, so I'm not cold. You know, I'm not having a problem here. So I thought maybe, you know, a ride through the country, beautiful Kentucky countryside, might be good for all of us. You know, my clean ride. I got over half a tank of gas. Not bad. There's a lady. Ooh, I gotta be careful about that too, because my brake foot, I can't really feel that brake pedal as easily as I could with my old boots, which admittedly were 5 years old and very well broken in. So I guess what I need to do is just put these things on and just walk around in them all day. I guess that's what I should probably do. And I kind of felt like Frankenstein walking around the house in them before I got out here on the bike, because I couldn't, you know, they wouldn't bend. Maybe I should just wear them to the gym and do a complete workout in them. You know, maybe I should do leg day in my CD boots. I know that sounds ridiculous. Maybe it is ridiculous. Going down to Fishing Creek. That's where this is. Fishing Creek. Not Fishing Creek, right? Fishing Creek. Get it right. Oh, also, while I was taking that curve, reminded me, while I was washing my bike, I took a good long look at my tires, and boy, does my rear tire need to be replaced. I've still got plenty of tread over on the edge, but toward the middle of the tread pattern, not the middle of the tire, but the middle of the tread pattern, you know, which is on the, you know, the edge of the tire, I'm down to almost no tread. And the middle of the tire itself has some tread, not a great deal, but you know, the compound of the tire in the middle is always harder than it is on the sides. So the sides, so you have more grip around corners. You know, everybody knows that. I'm not telling you guys nothing. So I went ahead and just ordered a new set of tires because I'm getting ready to do some work on the bike. I can't remember if because I remember in my last video I told you guys that my rear tire felt a little squirrely, and now I know why. Because looks like I've neglected my rear tire. Don't follow my example, kids. Do as I say, not as I do. But yeah, gonna do some work on the bike. It's got 51,000 miles on it. Time for some routine maintenance and maybe a little extra maintenance than normal. I can't remember if I told you what I was going to do, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do now. Thinking about adjusting the valves, new spark plugs. Although it may not even need new spark plugs, but I'm going to put them in there anyway. Why not? Probably a new timing chain, or to use the parlance of motorcycles, a cam chain. So a new chain, probably a new guide. I think I want to put a new guide in, and maybe even replace the tensioner, because even though I cleaned up the tensioner a while back and it seems like it's working properly again, I think I want to go ahead and just replace it with a new one. Why not? Why not? It's not that expensive. Probably gonna put overhaul kits in the front shocks, so gonna do the front shocks. Might replace the rear brake master cylinder, because the rear brakes, they just feel a little soft these days. I've got plenty of brake fluid. I've got a brand new brake disc back there, brand new brake pads, but the brakes still feel a little soft. So I'm gonna replace the master cylinder. And and probably new wheel bearings front and rear, and that should do it. That ought to do it. Taking it a little bit slow today. One, because of my swirly wheel, or tire, sorry, swirly tire. And two, because it's been raining. It's not raining today. It was raining last night. And leaves are blowing off trees and covering the road in places. The last thing I want to do is come around a curve onto a patch of wet leaves, which might as well be ice. To be honest, on two wheels, a patch of wet leaves might as well be ice. Just so you guys know. That's the way the world works. So I'm just kind of out here enjoying the beauty of my state. And it is beautiful. You guys ever seen Jaws? Let me tell you something. Jaws is my number 2 movie of all time. Number 2. Love that movie. It's probably almost the perfect movie. I mean, in my opinion, the one thing that keeps that movie from being perfect is how clothing and hairstyles and things really date the movie. They really date it. But, you know, I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just something that, you know, keeps it from, in my book, being perfect. And also, even if it was a perfect movie, it still wouldn't be my number 1 movie. You know, that's not how I rate it. That's not how I order my movies. I mean, my favorite movie is, and again, I can't remember if I said this before. This is like my 6th video, and now I'm already forgetting things I said in the past. But my favorite movie is Lawrence of Arabia, and I'll be honest, it probably always will be. God, I love that movie. Sorry, film. I love that film. I mean, we're talking Peter O'Toole's first major motion picture, directed by David Lean. I mean, I don't even really have to say anything else at this point. Peter O'Toole's first starring role, you know, major motion picture starring role, directed by David Lean, and I'm done. I mean, I'm done at this point. But there's more. There's more. You know? You got Alec Guinness, for God's sake. Alec Guinness is in the movie. And again, I could stop here. I could stop right here. he plays Prince Faisal. Plays Prince Faisal exceptionally well, might I add. Of course, Peter O'Toole plays T.E. Lawrence, who basically, and this movie is, semi-biographical, right? I mean, many of the things depicted in the movie, actually happened. Maybe not necessarily in that way. But the truth is, T.E. Lawrence kind of single-handedly led the Arabs in a revolt against the Turks. So, the things that he helped do, led to the Arab National Council. That's important. It's also interesting to watch the movie in its depictions of life in Arabia and see how things have changed. But I'm not getting into that. I'm talking about the movie. And the movie is awesome. So, David Lean directed, Peter O'Toole playing T.E. Lawrence, Alec Guinness playing Prince Faisal, and then you got Omar Sharif playing Sharif Ali, Lawrence's closest friend. And dare I say, possibly even lover? Who knows? Who knows? That aspect of the relationship, of course, wasn't touched upon in the movie. But who knows? Filmed on location. Good Lord, the cinematography, gorgeous. The cutscenes, gorgeous. The acting, top, first rate, across the board. Anthony Quinn, plays Auda Abutai. Not necessarily would have been my first choice, but we're talking about the 60s. That's fine. But oh my God, this movie. And I could just watch it over and over. I could. I really could. And I have. Now I have, and this will lead into another discussion some other time, but I have the movie in the restored restored format. And I believe the restoration was overseen by Steven Spielberg, because Steven Spielberg is a gigantic fan of this film. Loves it. Understandably. I love it. There's a good reason to love it. It's great. I have that on Laserdisc. Yes, I said Laserdisc. It's getting a little easier to shift. Now that I know how to bend my entire leg to get underneath the gear shift. Now that I know how to do that. But what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I have it on Laserdisc. Yes, I said Laserdisc. I own a Laserdisc player. I have owned a Laserdisc player since 1992. I am a huge fan of the format. I own dozens of movies on Laserdisc, and I still watch them. Yes, it's true, I have some of the movies I have on Laserdisc, I also own on DVD and Blu-ray. Some, not many. Like Titanic, I only own that on Laserdisc. And yes, Titanic was released on Laserdisc. believe it or not. But we can talk about the Laserdisc format another time, because that's like, for me, that's a topic that could take up an entire ride. I'm just saying. Because I am a huge fan of the format, and I will never, ever give it up. But you know, but that movie, you know, there's just so much about it that I love. So that's my number one movie. Number two, Jaws. Again, it is my number two movie, and is, as I said, nearly a perfect film. And I also own it on Laserdisc. I have it on Blu-ray as well. I've got the Universal 100th anniversary restoration of the film, and it's gorgeous. It looks better than it did when it came out in theaters, and that's not a joke. It does. It looks better than it did when it came out in theaters. It looks gorgeous on Blu-ray. But I also have it on Laserdisc. I have the director's cut, or not director's cut, but director's series box set. Came with the complete theatrical release, and it included, yeah, I had a cold, remember? I may cough every now and then, sorry guys, but it includes the 1995 documentary, which had tons of interviews with cast members, the director, behind the scenes stuff, and it's so good. Unfortunately, I can't remember the director of the documentary. He's a French man. I can't remember his name. No, I'll remember it later. The box set also came with the soundtrack to Jaws on CD, and it came with the softback copy of Peter Benchley's book, Jaws. It's a nice little box set, and you know, the movie is on 4 sides, 2 discs, both sides of each disc, and in CAV format. And again, we can talk about that a later time. I've watched that box set many, many times. And these movies that I love, I can watch them over and over again. No problem. No problem. I'm kind of hungry. Just thinking to myself, I'm a little hungry. Let's go left and try not to get hit. Looking good. Feeling good. Straighter, more open road. I can open it up a little bit. Stretch her legs. Now that she's all gussied up. shiny, clean. Got my new boots on. Feeling good. Got new tires on the way. That's good. Looks like they're doing some strip mining up there. Not good. Or maybe it's just rock quarry, I don't know. Either way, it looks ugly. Oh, stay on the road, doggy. I don't want to go bump over you. Yeah, I guess rock quarry. Pretty time of year though, you know, leaves turning colors, but they're getting to where they're just about all they've just about all fallen off, and you know, not as pretty. Oh yeah, I'm getting where I can shift this thing. Oh yeah. As the CSM 101 said, no problemo. You know, I used to be a movie theater projectionist. Favorite job of all time. I made $5.75 an hour, and even today, favorite job of all time. If I could do it and get by, you know, if I could do that job and not be hurting for money, do it in a heartbeat. Best job ever. As long as I can still do 35mm film and not digital. Because digital can go straight to hell as far as projectionists go. You know, as far as the projection side of it goes. I love to sit in a theater and watch a digital movie. Oh, I love that. That's fine. It's great. But from a, you know, behind the scenes standpoint, you know, from a projectionist standpoint, I got to tell you, there is nothing like it. And if you've never done it, you just wouldn't understand. I know it's a hackneyed expression, but it's true. If you'd never done it, you wouldn't understand it. You just wouldn't. Because there's something about, let me try to explain. There's something about putting those films together. Even if it was just that and nothing else, it would still be awesome. There's something about it. You know, back in the day, you got a movie in cans, right? Canisters. And most of the time they were ancient. You know, these are canisters that have been, you know, all over the country, maybe even all over the world. Who knows? But they're beat up and they're old and they're dingy and they've got, you know, stickers all over them. You know, and that's so cool. Then you open up a canister, or you open up both your canisters, or if it's a really long movie, you open up 3 canisters, like Dances with Wolves was back in 90, 91, whenever it was. That thing was 10 reels. 10 reels. It almost went to the edge of the platter. So you open up these things and, you know, you might have 3 reels in one can and 2 reels in the other, maybe 3 reels. Typically a movie was either 5 or 6 reels, typically. So and you pull the individual reels out, and, you know, and they're, you know, you've seen these normal size reels, and usually they're plastic these days. You know, they're about this big around, you know. And if they're new, if they've never been shown before, well, they're on backwards usually, and you got to take them off and put it back on another one. But, you know, you take the heads off, you build up your trailers, and you put those on the platter. You put your leader on there first, and you put your trailers on there. You determine what trailers you're showing for this movie. You put them on there. You splice each one of them together with your splicer. And one thing that I did, that I was shown how to do by projectionists at a bigger theater in a bigger city, was when you splice together, you know, 2 ends of film, coat it with a little baby powder. And coat, you know, the tape after you've spliced it, punched it down with your splicing machine. Coat it with a little bit of baby powder. I don't know if you guys remember back in the day when, you know, everybody was showing film, not digital. Sometimes, you know, you might see a little circle up in the corner of the screen for a moment. Sometimes it would look like a circle, sometimes it looked like an oval. If it was an oval, then you know you were watching a scope film, you're watching widescreen. And sometimes you might have noticed at that moment the screen gets really dirty, like there's dirt all over it. If you saw that, it's probably baby powder. Just letting you know, if you noticed that. Not everybody did it, and if you didn't do it, the reason you put baby powder on there is to prevent the sticky tape that connects the 2 ends of film from sticking to other film, you know, to the rest of the film at that location. And you don't want that to happen, because if it happens, it'll get caught up in the brain in the middle of the platter, and you don't want a brain wrap. The last thing you want is film wrapped around the brain, because it'll wrap for a long time, and then it'll finally become so tight that it breaks the film. And then to unwrap that brain, oh my God, it takes forever. And you got to give out passes to people and tell them to come back another time, and managers yell at you and you feel stupid. Not that I have any experience with that as a projectionist, but you don't want to do that. So you put a little baby powder on there, and it prevents it from sticking to anything else. It's just a good idea. So then, you know, once you got your trailer set up, then you start putting on the film. You start with the first reel. You put it on your little makeup table that plugs into the platter system, and you've got a, you know, a potentiometer there that can speed up the platter and make it, you know, start pulling the film off the reel onto the platter. And you just do that one reel after another until you're done. You know, one reel, splice the second reel onto it, do the second reel, splice the third reel onto the end of it, So that's how you do it. That's how you make up a movie onto a platter. And then, but see, and I said, even if it was just that, that's fun. That's fun to me. But then you get to show the movie to people. And to do that, you gotta thread the projector with the film. So you run your leader. Usually the platter system has a tree of rollers on it. You kind of, you know, snake it through all the rollers and over to the projector. And the, you know, threading the projector, that's the most important part right there. You know, that's the part you really got to watch out for. Because, I mean, you got to thread that exactly right every time. Because if you don't, you could, you know, bust out sprocket holes. You could scratch the film. You could thread the film backwards, and there'd be no sound, and everything on the screen would be backward. And then again, moviegoers get really angry, and they come out and they complain to the manager, and the manager yells at you, and you know, that's what happens. That's what happens. Sorry about the coughing, guys. I'm doing my best. But you know, you thread it through there, you thread it through the top sprockets, you thread it through the gate there, the intermittent sprocket, and down through the sound head, and then back to the platter. Wind it up, get it set. When it's time to start the movie, you press the go button and you're off. Man, I loved it so much. Loved it. I would do it today. I actually did too come back. I was a projectionist in 1990 and 91 for Cinemark. I was on their corporate training team for projectionists. Then I got a job offer from the Toyota factory in Georgetown, and I left, went to work for Toyota, and thus began my life as I know it today. But then, in 2011, 20 years later, 20 years, I took a side job at a Cinemark Theater in Lexington, Woodhill Movies 10. They hired me as projectionist, you know, just right on the spot. Went up there, and you know, the projection manager said he wanted to train me. I said, let me just try this on my own. I walked over to a projector. I threaded the platter system and the projector and started a movie. No training, just like that. I mean, let me just tell you, in those 20 years, countless times did I think about that job and how much I loved it. Countless times did I think about the process of it, and I kept it fresh in my mind for 20 years because I loved it. My favorite job of all time. And let me tell you, I was incredibly excited to try to do that with no training, and I did. And I just remember the guy's face thinking, how did you know that? I said, dude, it's been 20 years since I've even touched a projector. But I couldn't wait to do it again. Couldn't wait. And I'd do it again. But, you know, nobody has film anymore. Well, some do for special occasions. And the projectors they have are typically 70 millimeter. you know, for showing special art house 70mm films. Love it. Love it. I mean, yeah, I do IT these days, but oh man, do I love that job. Do I love being a projectionist. Not a very heavy traffic day. What got me talking about that? So yeah, you know, like I said, Dances with Wolves, it came out while I was working there. Oh yeah, I know what got me thinking about it, but I'll do this first. Dances with Wolves was 10 reels, and that sucker took up pretty much the entire platter. We were worried that it was going to spin off because it went almost out to the edge of the platter. And also, that movie was in scope, but for some reason, we didn't have any scope trailers. All our trailers were flat, and our projectors were old. Most modern projectors had rotating turrets with different lenses on them. We didn't have that. We had to replace lenses manually, and so we just decided, look, we can't do this every showing, so we're just gonna have to, you know, put flat trailers on a scope film and just put a scope lens in. But you know, the first couple of showings, you know, when the trailers ran, you know, I don't know if some of you may have seen this happen before, but you watch a movie and it doesn't look right on the screen. It looks, you know, the aspect is off. Like, people look really tall and thin. Things look really tall and stretched and thin. That's because you are watching a scope movie and they have put the wrong lens in. If you ever saw a movie that looked like that, you know, back in the day, it's because the projectionist didn't do his damn job. That's why. So the trailers looked like that for every showing, and people would come out and they'd say, hey, I think something's wrong. I think you need to adjust the vertical or the horizontal or whatever they say, as if that's something that you do with a projector. You don't. So I got to where, you know, until we could get some scope trailers in, which we did in the next few days, but until we could do that, I would just go down there at the front of the auditorium and just, you know, tell people ahead of time, hey, it's going to look funny when it starts, you know, but don't worry, the movie will look normal. And that, you know, that took care of the problem. But anyway, we were talking about Terminator, and that got me off on projecting, and because Terminator 2 Judgment Day came out while I was working there as projectionist, and I will never forget. I will never forget. It was in March of 1991. I can't remember what movie I put it on because I didn't care. I just knew that it was a movie that was going to be packed, so I put the Terminator 2 trailer on there. You got to understand, this is before people had internet in their homes. This is before cell phones. Well, not really before cell phones, but before anybody who wasn't important had one. before multimedia, before all that stuff. And you know, it had been 6 years since the first Terminator, which was, you know, a gargantuan success for James Cameron. And most people didn't even know there was a sequel coming out. You know, I did because I was involved in a movie theater. But I knew this was going to be special, and we got a teaser trailer for that movie. We got a teaser trailer for that movie. And I gotta tell you, every time I talk about this, I still get chills when I think about this, because you want to talk about being a geek or a dork or a nerd, that's me. You know, I still get chills thinking about this story. I put that trailer on there, started the movie, and then I went down there because I wanted to see people's reaction. And if I had thought, I would have brought a camera with me and recorded it, you know, like a camcorder or something, if I had any wherewithal. But it was the teaser, and many of you who are, you know, movie aficionados will know this. It was the teaser of the assembly line, where they're building, you know, multiple endoskeletons and making Terminators. And it's a great teaser because at first you don't even know what's going on. You know, you don't even know this is a Terminator movie. It's like you see parts being put together, close up. But then, you know, one of the endoskeletons, you know, comes into view from the left or the right. From behind, it turns around, and you can see it looks like a metal human skull. You know, with the red eyes. And I gotta tell you, when that part of the teaser came up on the screen, suddenly you start hearing some people going, you know, making noise. Like, some people in there, they know what this is, and you can hear them getting excited, right? And then it does the scene where you see the fully assembled endoskeleton go into the skin mold, and the two pieces come together. You know, the screen flashes, and then it comes apart, and you can see the endoskeleton now has human skin on it. And the camera pans up to Arnold's face, and his eyes open, and they're red. And then it cuts to, you know, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. And man, let me tell you, when you saw Schwarzenegger's face, and it said Terminator 2, the whole auditorium erupted in cheers, and I will never forget that. And I'm getting chills right now. I'm getting chills right now talking about this, because that was like a big deal when that movie came out. A big deal. And James Cameron, you are a master. You will probably never watch my videos. You'll probably never know who I am, but I'm telling you right now, as a projectionist, from one person in one part of the industry to somebody else in another part of the industry, you are a genius. That teaser in little old Danville, Kentucky made people cheer. It made me cheer. Just telling you. Just telling it like it is here. So anyway, I think that's all for today. I'm gonna head back to the house and drink some sarsaparilla, as the stranger says. I'm digging his style. We shall talk to you later, and maybe next time we'll talk about laser discs. I know you probably can't wait. I understand. I would be the same. Anyway, until next time.